Hello guys, what's up? My name is Chris Prince, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. So finally, Ladipo has spoken out on the whole shit he got from Wizkid during the Wizkid and Davido saga. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Wizkid and Davido had their back and forth where they went on an exchange on the X app, formerly Twitter. And remember that there was a time where Wizkid, sometime in 2022, December 2022, Wizkid had made a statement where he said that hip hop is dead. And in context, this is what he said. So in an interview with 10 magazine, Wizkid actually said he was interviewed and he was asked about what he thinks of hip hop. And in his statement, he said that he said, if I'm being honest, I don't listen to any other genre of music anymore. I don't listen to rap. That shit is boring to me. It's dead now. It's tired. These guys do the same shit, rap on the same beats and the same flows. So this statement in itself got a lot of people angry. And one of the people that actually dropped a response, like a subliminal response to Wizkid, was Ladipo. Ladipo is actually very active on the X app, and he's one of those guys that I think he's the only rapper signed to Million Records, and he's one of those rappers that are right now on the front lines for Nigeria and putting Nigeria on the rap in the hip hop scene. So Ladipo responded subliminally with a tweet which said, "I'm not dead, I'm sexy." So after this tweet, Ladipo was asked in an interview what he thought about Wizkid's statement, and this is what he said.
Had nothing to do with it was just the timing of it's so funny. Honestly speaking, the original thing was from an article, right? That Wiz was being interviewed, and he had a response about his taste and preferences. And when I read that, because I saw a lot of reaction on the timeline first.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to know what it was about. Then a friend of mine sent me the actual, like, an excerpt from the magazine, and I'm like, personally, like, I think everybody's entitled to their personal opinion. And I felt no kind of way. In fact, it didn't even sound like he was being specific about any country, just his preference for rap music. And I think that a lot of people reacted to that here in Nigeria, and then from there, everybody just got petty.
It's kind of
everybody got petty.
It's kind of what we do.
I mean,
over here,
some petty things on the timeline being said to him, and then of course, like, he had his own responses through his snap. I saw those, and I think if there's anything that made me feel away is that nobody needs to be insulted. Everybody's out here really pushing an art form that they truly believe in and that is in them. And a lot of people have been seeking validation because they think that maybe they're on the wrong path and they're wasting their time.
Yeah.
Wiz is so influential and his words have impact, and that definitely does, like, wait for me. The only thing I think of is the people behind me who are struggling to be on, read that and feel like, I've been wasting my whole time because this thing I'm trying to do is dead anyways in the eyes of somebody like him. So I feel like
because of the influence that he's got,
he's
obviously
extremely influential, and deservedly so. He's such a big player in the game. He's somebody that I look up to, so I feel like it's what I've been doing. I call myself the leader of the revival, and it's to shine a light on the people coming behind me.
Okay, so this was just Ladipo's take on it. Here he just said that he feels like Wizkid was not being specific, and Wizkid was just he was entitled to his own opinion, just talking about how he feels that hip hop, not in the Nigerian industry sense, but generally, he feels like hip hop, the genre of hip hop, is not really popping. It's their genre. So, however, Ladipo talking about defending Wizkid. He also talked about the downside of it. The downside of it is that this will kind of like, it would be it will demotivate people that are trying to come out, like up and coming rappers that are trying to shine. To just bring their spirits down because someone that is that influential doesn't think good of hip hop, so they don't go feel like their lights can actually shine. So Ladipo made this statement, and fast forward a year and some months later, Ladipo is back on the whole saga with Wizkid again, and this time around he dropped a statement which happened like maybe a couple of weeks or a week before the whole Wizkid and Davido saga. He made a statement of which he said, "Nigerian rappers that survived hip hop is dead. Watching Afrobeat artists go through their own." So the context of this, in my own interpretation, is that this statement was just saying that the Afrobeat artists in Nigeria are not, they are on the news, and a lot of stories online where people are claiming to be not to be specifically to be Afrobeat artists, but also that they can evolve and do other genre of music. So someone like Wizkid also made it known in general that you should not tag him as an Afrobeat artist, because his next album is not going to be confined to a box. He can do different genres of music. So he doesn't want to be kept in a box as an Afrobeat artist. Aside him, other artists too have come out to say the same thing about their music being Afrofusion and having different names for their Afrobeat sound. So it's not just Wizkid, but other artists are coming to claim different types of genre, and almost like they're in denial of the Afrobeat genre of music. So that's why Ladipo dropped this statement where he said, Nigerian rappers that survive hip hop is dead, watching Afrobeat artists go through their own. So he made that statement, and he didn't know that this statement would cause a buzz. But fast forward to when Wizkid and Davido had their back and forth, a fan actually asked Wizkid a question and was like, dude, Wizkid, you're having back and forth with Davido. Meanwhile, Ladipo said something, and this was Wizkid's stray to Ladipo. He said this. So this was when a fan asked him that, Wizkid, Ladipo still talked nonsense yesterday. I beg, enter that one. So he now replied that, I'm never chatting with anyone signed to an influencer. So this was a shade to Ladipo and also a shade to Don Jazzy, who signed Ladipo. So indirectly calling Don Jazzy an influencer and also calling Ladipo irrelevant to him. So Ladipo has also been asked this question in a recent interview, and this is what Ladipo said.
It was about how hip hop was getting the hip hop is dead treatment, and now Afrobeat guys are getting the same. Yeah. I'm not quoting you directly, but that's kind of like a summary, right? And then because of that, there was some percentages of people, Wizkid FC as well, who thought you were throwing shade, and then Wizkid came and responded as well, and then Don Jazzy caught it straight too, and all of it was just a little chaotic, right? So I want to know two things. Number one, how do you feel about that? And number two would be, because sometimes tweets are open to interpretation, especially without context or nuance, what was your intention behind that tweet? Like, what did you mean by what you tweeted?
I think it's easier for me to answer the second question first, which is what my intention was with the tweet. For me, I think Twitter or X is a funny place for me. I don't share so often on X. I have a very peculiar sense of humor, and I feel like sometimes it needs extra context, and X just doesn't give me that. Yeah. So, but I've been tweeting more recently, and to me, this was the whole P was a joke. Really, is like you said, hip hop artists have been through this time when there was this false narrative of hip hop is dead. It has been something that has been in the industry for years now, right? And now you're getting these same whispers about Afrobeats. Once again, I think they're just as ridiculous and as false as the time they were saying hip hop is dead. Yeah. But it's like, okay, see, as we went through our own. Don't worry, this too shall pass for you guys. Okay. Afrobeats guys. So it was more like a joke, like we went through ours, now you're going through yours. And that was the joke. And funny enough, actually, if there's anybody who was kind of aimed at, is more aimed at like the audience or anybody who believes these narratives. Like, who are you to say any genre is dead? As long as the...
So I feel like Ladipo is taking a very democratic stance on this, where he's saying that he didn't try to shade anybody. But I feel like also the underlying meaning of that tweet might have suggested that he's also looking at the Afrobeat scene, and it's like, I heard the guys that called the rap scene dead and having this drama. You guys are having your own drama too. So he said that this tweet was directed towards the audience other than the rap Afrobeat artists, of which personally I feel like there's an underlying subliminal shots at the Afrobeat artist, even if it doesn't come from a place of malice, but just a place of catching fun and cruise. So, but let's listen.
Artists are alive and there are people wanting the music, then it's alive. And Afrobeats, where's the evidence that that's there? Look at what we've been doing. So that was the whole intention behind the joke, and any other interpretation of it is really like something I didn't anticipate, because I know what I was thinking when I tweeted it. In fact, I tweeted it and went to bed, woke up, saw chaos. Expecting happy birthday messages.
Yeah, drama.
from all corners of the internet. So it was a wild day. It was a wild experience. How would I feel about it personally? I stand 10 toes on what I said. You know, I know what I was talking about. That doesn't change. How anybody interprets it, that's really how they feel. I feel like I know who I am. I know who I partner with, which is Maven Jazzy. I know what they stand for. And like for me, it's Twitter. That's one place where I don't put real emotions or take real emotions away. So can I be very, very honest? The first thing I felt was I was amused. So I was like, so this is where this tweet don't go reach.
Yeah.
Wow, like to get to this point.
What song plays on your headset while you're at the gym?
So this was it. He just spoke about the whole saga and he said he was amused by how far it went. But this is what he meant. And he also, the fact that he's very confident of himself and he knows who signed with Don Jazzy. So in the response was he didn't shake anybody, he didn't try to be disrespectful to anybody. He still took that democratic stance that he took initially, where he talked about him being confident of what he stands for, and the meaning of his tweet, where it was just like, dude, you guys are going through your own and we went through ours. So he said he was referencing the audience more than it was throwing shots towards the musical artist. And to be honest, I feel like that's a brilliant response and a brilliant move from Ladipo. Ladipo is one guy that is very talented. He's the kind of guy that is very versatile in his rap, and his verses fit into any genre of music, really. So he's very versatile in his rap and his talent shows. So the straight from Wizkid, obviously everybody had shaded Wizkid already for what he said, especially the fact that Wizkid had acknowledged Don Jazzy before in the video. I'll play the video now. So yes, Wizkid had acknowledged Don Jazzy before in the video.
I like, because, like I grew, like a lot of people don't even know, I grew up around the bands a lot,
Right.
Like Moheats, that era.
Yeah.
Like I was around them, like I was in the house. They didn't even know I was in the house. Like I was even living with them, they didn't even know I was living with them. That's how crazy it was. Because we were just family, man. So big shout out to the bands. Man.
Yeah.
And Moheats, Ladipo, Don Jazzy, Dr. Sid, Prince.
And this is just Wizkid just being Wizkid, just talking sometimes. He can just overshare and just overtalk because he doesn't really send. And I'm happy for the kind of person that Don Jazzy is. He's not the kind of guy that takes things very personally or takes things at heart. He's a very light-hearted guy. He doesn't like to make himself burdened by things that are not relevant. So this is just what it is. So I'm very impressed with how Ladipo has handled the whole situation, and also impressed with how Don Jazzy has handled the situation. Tell me what you think about this. I'll go by the name is Chris, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.